Lisa Briggs from the Brewers Company is here answering your plant and garden questions. Email them to tips@channel3000.com. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Beautiful orchid.
Yeah, this is Phalaenopsis, or a moth orchid. They're super easy to take care of. And once you get them flowering, they bloom for such a long time.
Months.
Yes, yes. So bright indirect light. You don't want direct light or sun on the leaves. They get sunburned.
Really?
Yeah, they'll get a little sort of a reddish cast to them. That means they're getting too much sun.
And water?
Once a week generally, and don't forget that they're not generally in soil. They're in some other kind of potting medium, so you want to soak it so that that bark absorbs some water.
All right, let's get to our questions. Carolyn asks, if she buys a poinsettia now, what's the best way to care for it so it lasts until Christmas?
So poinsettias, the flowers are those little yellow things in the middle. The colored part are bracts, which is sort of a modified leaf. So once they're colored, they pretty much stay colored. The trick is to make sure that they're not in a drafty spot, that they get plenty of light, and also that you don't overwater. Sometimes you'll get them and they'll be in like foil wraps or some kind of some sort of container, and you want to make sure that they get good drainage. That's the trick, because they don't like to be wet. They're actually a euphorbia, so they're kind of not exactly a succulent, but along those lines.
All right, Jeff wants to know, he found some glad bulbs in his garage he bought back in May. Can you still plant them?
No, Jeff, do not plant those now. They will not last in the ground over the winter, but a lot of people do plant their glads in the spring and then dig them up and then replant them and save them from year to year. So put them in a dark, airy, cool place. Make sure that as long as they're still firm, they're not dried out or mushy, just store them over, and then remember to plant them at the end of May next year.
Sounds like my garage. All right, Deborah has 2 Thanksgiving cacti that have no buds this year. Why?
Well, it's hard to say, but the trick with all of the Thanksgiving and Christmas cactuses is to make sure that they have regulated day length. So day length is what spurs the flower buds to form, and a little bit cool temperatures. So put your cactus in a room where they're going to get plenty of bright light during the day, but at night it's going to be dark, and in a window where it's going to be a little bit cooler.
All right, Joanne has an azalea bush that's 2 years old. Do I need to cover it for the winter?
Not necessarily. Most azaleas, when we talk about azaleas, we're talking about things that are deciduous or lose their leaves. Those are perfectly hardy. If you have some that are evergreen, those are a little bit trickier. I wouldn't cover it, but you might do like some burlap on the sunny side, like on the southwestern side, to just keep the really strong sunlight off of it, but it should be fine otherwise.
All right, Tracy has a cypress tree and wants to know, when is it safe to prune and how can you prune it one time?
Okay, so I think if she's talking about cypress, she's probably talking about arborvitae. I hope. It's hard to say without knowing exactly what it is. Arborvitae are best pruned at the end of June into July. So after the new growth has come out and then it begins to darken up, we call it hardening. And then that would be when you would shear it. You want to be careful though that you don't pierce the green layer into the places inside in the inner part of the tree where there are just bare branches. Bare branches will not rebud on an arborvitae.
All right, Lisa, Mark wants to know, he has big yellow aphids on a mandevilla. How do I get rid of them?
Ew.
Or is the plant going to die?
Aphids make me itch, no. But what you want to do is use some insecticidal soap and put it in your bathroom, in the bathtub, and really soak it down, and then use a systemic insecticide, because those aphids will have laid eggs that maybe the insecticidal soap will not take care of. So you're going to want to do that because you're going to want to kill any eggs that are laid too. It might take a couple of treatments.
Ew,
right.
I
know, they do make me itch.
All right, Dawn didn't have time to get a cover crop planted on my raised beds this fall. Should I cover the beds with chopped straw to keep the soil covered?
Yeah, chopped straw is great, and if you put a sheet of black plastic over it and weight that down, then you'll get some really good breaking down of the straw, and then you can just till that in the spring and sort of improve the fertility of your soil.
And quickly, Paul wants to know how to protect his rhododendron he planted in the spring, grow over the summer. What do I need to do to protect them?
So like the azalea, rhododendrons, we usually consider that those are evergreen. You're going to want to do some shade on the sunny side, southwestern side. Some burlap and a couple of stakes will do it. Make sure that you irrigate it until the ground freezes. With this weather, you want to keep up the watering. Don't put your hoses away, everybody.
It's unusual, isn't it?
It is weird.
All right. Thanks for all of your questions. Got a lot of them in.
We did.
Lisa, good to see you.
Good to see you too.